Yo, I've been putting off making this video because this recording is 2 hours long. I'm gonna skip through a lot of it. First things first, I didn't realize when I recorded this that this level has memorizer logic, so it tried to record my progress through it, but it didn't even do it right, or maybe they just decided weirdly in where the checkpoints should save, because this is not where I left off when I even played it. So, had a quick moment of contemplation there before going to clear the memorizer data. Speed through that. There it is. Alright. Now we begin for real. This is a good time to talk about movement tech. This level has a lot of that stuff going on. I assume that most people who would watch this video already know the names of movement tech. Like, there's the speedrunners and there's the hard level community who both independently discovered a lot of tech. And they gave them their own names without knowing the other community existed for a while. This first obstacle, this trick is called the speedrunners call it a bounce RCJ, RCJ being right corner jump, whereas the hardies call it a triple super, which I think is a very stupid name. So I like to call it a bounce RCJ instead. It wasn't too hard. I think that little weird corner makes it easier, because I didn't seem to struggle on it when I normally do. This next obstacle, speedrunners call this a left corner jump. Seems to only work on the left sides of things. Hard level community calls them quad jumps. I don't know why. My guess is like, oh, you go like 4 times higher than a normal jump. Yeah, they got that little cardboard square at the end that kills you. It's not too hard to get over. You just got to jump at the right time. This third obstacle is the first hard one in my opinion. You gotta jump before you reach the little gap, because then your body squishes into the ground once you go under. I don't think the speedrunners have a name for it. To my knowledge, it's only used in one level speedrun. When they fight the collector, there's like a weird spot you can squish between to get to beating it faster. I think that the hard level community calls this a rebound jump. Something like that. It's normally a really easy trick to do, but in this particular example, they're very low to the ground. Normally it's a little bit higher. And also, the 3 jumps are very close together, so it's easy to go a little bit too fast and die in the next one. Also, I kept getting like psyched out on the last jump. I feel like it should be the easiest because you don't have to worry about going too fast, but I kept then dying on the left side of the wall. Let's see, I think we clear this in a minute, so let's just skip ahead there. That was way too far. Not bad. Here we go. No, my bad. Jump 1, jump 2. Never mind. I don't remember how this goes. But yeah, it's not too hard once you get unpsyched about it. This obstacle is pretty easy. You just gotta drop down and then press up to drop back forward, or I guess up. I don't think there's a name for this trick, so I asked ChatGPT what we should call this trick. I'll go over those names quickly. Some of my favorite names it suggested was the layer leap, the slip and slide, the peekaboo, and most extravagant of all, the zigzag layer zap. If you like any of those names, or if you have a better name, go ahead and tell me in a comment. That'd be fun. This obstacle here, this trick's not too hard. It uses a bunch of you have to jump into the corner, and then when the corner pushes you out, you can get a little extra height. Speedrunners call it a banana jump because when you jump away from the corner, you make a little banana curve. Hard level community, it's called an inverted super jump. You can probably guess why. It's like the opposite motion of what a super jump is, which is jumping off a corner. I don't think that the Hardys have a name for this trick. It's kind of the same thing as a super jump, I think. But instead of jumping off a corner, you're kind of jumping into a corner to trip, and then when the game tries to correct your position or your orientation, you jump at that time, you get some extra height. I know that the speedrunners made some funny names for this one. One of them being the falling asleep and waking back up jump, because you kind of fall over before jumping. The other name that was, they used ChatGPT to come up with a good name for it, and it suggested bouncing bedtime boogie. I think that's a pretty fire name. Let's see. Usually these jumps aren't that hard, but this one you don't have very much space, so it's kind of hard to jump at a less steep angle. It's not hard to get like a decent amount of height, but to get as high as the obstacle demands, a little tricky. Let's see. Get the first one in about 15 seconds here. Oops. Ignore that. And there we go. Once I get up here, I don't fall back down, but it does take me a while to get the jump to work. It's around here. I just stayed there fumbling for a while. No need to watch all that. You already know what it looks like. Yeah, not too hard. It's just a little inconvenient. This, I assume we just call it a fire bounce, but I've never heard any official naming for it. I don't think you ever do this in a speedrun, so this is mostly just for hard levels. You jump right when you touch the fire and you get some extra height. This one's a little bit weird though, because normally you do it for height, but this one's for distance. And I found that jumping before it seems to make it a bit more consistent. I think you can still do it without the previous jump, well, without jumping twice. But I got it very quickly doing that strat. Last time I tried this, I didn't do that, and it took much longer. Still possible though. So this one, it's kind of weird. I don't know why this happens, but there's like a specific angle and height that you can use the grappling hook with. When I say angle, I mean like holding a direction of the joystick, where on a vertical wall you can clear it. Because if you just hold up to retract the grappling hook, you won't get enough speed to go over it. This one does make it pretty annoying though, with the entire wall except for the very top being a hazard. It took me a shamefully long time to get over there. I think in previous attempts I got over this in like 10 seconds, but here it took me a couple minutes. Yeah, let's just skip to when I clear this. It doesn't even look that cool when you actually do it. There we go. Here, this obstacle, it's pretty easy to understand. In this game, when you're able to jump a little bit before you actually like land on the ground. So if you take advantage of that, you can avoid triggering a bounce pad. In this case, the bounce pads kill you. Nope, shout out to low battery. Seems to happen a lot these days. I think my batteries and my controllers might be dying. Yeah, this one, doing this, especially in this short of a distance, it's not very hard. It's only about 2 or 3 jumps. But the spike at the end and the little red pit at the end means you have to hit your last jump in a very specific area. Otherwise, you won't clear the gap. Still though, I don't think it's that hard. This one was... Honestly, I just kind of held forward and kept jumping until I got it eventually, and it worked. When do I beat this? About here, I think. Yeah, I don't want to think too hard on this one, because it's not that complicated. Here, the jetpacks can just clip us through the wall, because it pulls really hard. It's nothing difficult or complex. This one, this is like a big difficulty spike in my opinion. It's really awkward, because these chains are pretty short, so the only way to get through is to fly at the right angle, and then disconnect the jetpack so the momentum carries you over. It's not super precise. I feel like I got kind of sloppy with it, and it still worked a decent amount of the time. But then you have to grab these jetpacks in a really weird way, because if you just walk into them, you get launched into the plasma like I am over and over again here. So I found that you have to kind of grab it while moving downwards, which means you have to kind of jump on it. But not on directly on top of it, because if you jump on it right on top of it, you're basically right in, you're gonna get sent right into the plasma. So there's like a very small area, like to the top left of the jetpack, where landing downwards on it will cancel out the momentum a little bit. So then you can grab the jetpack without dying. The real struggle isn't doing it once, it's doing it 3 times in a row. I probably got to this last part and died like 7 times. It's quite frustrating because I knew I could do it, not just because I've done it before, but because I was doing it a single time so many times. This obstacle ended up taking me about 15 minutes, I think. I was pretty done with it. So just skip ahead to there. Where is it? Yep, I spent too much time here. Yeah, I think it's pretty satisfying when you get it, but it is, I couldn't feel too happy about it because of how long it took. I mean, 15 minutes doesn't sound that long, but for a short challenge, dying over and over again, it's kind of like, feels like hours. This one, it's pretty simple. At first, I thought it was just like completely random. I couldn't figure it out for a while, but that was a previous attempt. On this attempt, I got it pretty quickly. I found that jumping towards the middle gives you more height, it seems. Also, I was holding X and up. I don't know if that made a big difference because of how quickly you get rid of the jetpack, but it doesn't hurt to try it. What really matters is getting a good initial launch because your momentum carries through when you're going through multiple jetpacks launching like this. Almost got it there. Also, it seems like staying in the middle as best as you can seems to give you more height. Probably because it's sending you more straight up when you grab the jetpacks. And there we go. Quick chain, and we get launched up. So I think that most people who play Little Big Planet understand that explosions, if they don't outright kill you, they can push you. So this is a pretty simple concept to understand, but this particular jump and this angle is very frustrating. It's pretty close to as high as you can get with a single explosion, and the angle is very inconvenient. I felt like I was experimenting a lot with the timing and the angle. Eventually, I found that if you die and just run to the right wall and then jump to the left like that, it's like the perfect timing to get a good attempt at it, which makes me think that beating this level, or at least beating this section without dying, is like way more difficult than beating it with an intentional death. Which I actually end up doing it without dying, because my strat became, if I didn't die, then I'll try to match the movement of if I died. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it felt to me. Anyways, I think we've seen this enough times to skip to me beating this part, just a minute away. About here, yeah. It's a very satisfying obstacle if you can get it right, but oh, it's pretty annoying dying to the bomb over and over again, not understanding why you didn't get launched. This obstacle, this one is the bane of my existence. I don't like this one. This obstacle is the reason why this level took me so long to beat. Just a little sneak peek, look at the timer at the bottom. The majority of this video is this obstacle. I got to this point in the level, I think twice before, maybe 3 times, probably twice, and I quit at this obstacle because it is ridiculously precise and very demoralizing and not fun. Okay. Looking at this part, I remember now, I was pressing tab on my keyboard, which prompts the message box. I was contemplating, do I try pause buffering this with a message box? Because that's a thing you can do. When you close the text box on the keyboard, you can hold down a button, and when the keyboard closes, it'll press that button as if it was not held the previous frame. But I don't think there's a way to buffer the message box into another message box. So all it really did was, you see here, all it did was make me change which button or that I'm trying to get the right frame on. Instead of pressing the jump button, it's the tab button on the keyboard. I tried it for a good while here, and it didn't really help. Eventually I give up on it. I tried using the pause button instead. Yeah, I think maybe there's more you could try with pause buffering, but in this case I gave up on it. Let's skip ahead here, let's go like halfway through. Last time I tried this level, I did ask the hard Discord if these jumps are frame perfect. It certainly felt that way to me because I was incredibly inconsistent with it. I mean, we didn't have a definitive answer, but they told me that some of them told me that they don't think it is. Which I feel like practicing this more, it kind of felt like it was a little bit more lenient than a frame, at least for the first 2 jumps. But the third jump, that one was very difficult for me. I think by the end of this, I could do the first jump, maybe like half the time, a little bit more than half the time. Second jump, probably around the same success rate. The third jump took me, well, it took a lot out of me. And of course with the 5th jump, I only successfully did that one once. That was me beating the level. I got to the 5th jump a disappointingly high number of times, which feels weird to say. I don't know if I'll find that just searching through here, but there were many attempts where I got to the 5th jump and I land, try to jump. Oh, I just realized there's only 4 jumps. Oh, what a fool I am. I got to the 4th jump, and when I land on the ground, Sackboy just kind of like goes, oh, and he like falls over and then gets no height when I press the jump button. He just stays on the ground as I watch the timer fill up and kill me. You only have 1 try to do each jump per attempt because of the timer. Now here's something I want to show, which is I found that if you get to the final jump and then miss the input, sometimes you have a chance to try it again by backtracking to the previous jump, because the bounciness of the surface, I think it's 100%, which doesn't conserve your momentum perfectly like you would think, but lets you try again on jumps sometimes. So I think that was a big factor in me clearing the final jump, because it turned some of my attempts into 2 attempts. Alright, here's a example of what I was talking about earlier, where make it to the final jump, I'm like, alright, time to get this input, it's real precise, hopefully I get it. Ooh, I don't know what happened, he just kind of like fell over, and very bad feeling. I don't understand why what happens sometimes. And I was starting to wonder, like, is that a consistent thing? Because it happened to me like 3 or 4 times. Look at that, it's happened again. Yeah, I think you get the gist of this obstacle. It sucks, I hate it, it's hard. Skip to the end. Oh, when I finally get it. Oops. That is over. Wait. Here. So here, I took advantage of what I talked about earlier, which was if I miss the input, if I have enough height, I can try it again by backtracking. Hold down, did not get the jump, I gotta try again. When I actually beat that obstacle, I was on Discord with Shar, and I popped off. I was like, yes! And she's like, what are you yelling about? Stop. I'm like, oh, my bad. I was just playing some Little Big Planet. This next obstacle, it's like, to me, like one of the easiest ones. I mean, I'm pretty practiced in paint flying. Maybe some other people would find it more difficult. Something that some people may not know. If you paint fly while hugging a left wall, it actually has the effect of doing a what they call a wall super jump. Basically, jumping into a left wall gives you some extra height for some reason, and it works with paintballs too. So I think because of that, previous obstacle was super easy, and I was like, dude, if it's that easy, I'm just gonna try to take the paint gun with me to the next one, because if you saw that next obstacle, it's a bunch of jumps off of triangles. I don't know if there's a name for that. I think they're just considered super jumps or right corner jumps. But when on a triangle like that, it's super inconsistent. At least to my eyes, it is. There might be a way to make it more consistent, but I don't have a good understanding of that. Also, just lost the paint gun immediately. Fortunately, I found this obstacle super easy, so I didn't mind doing it over and over again. I thought that I would get this pretty quickly, because on my first trying to cheese this with a paint gun, I got almost to the very top, but I actually ended up staying here for 15 minutes, and you know, even if you're good at paint flying, doing it for 15 minutes straight, it's very tiring on the hand, so I started getting worse and worse. I did try a couple of times to get the jumps off of the triangles, but yeah, seeing how high it is, I kind of decided no, that's not worth my time. I feel like doing this kind of jump 2 or 3 times is already like pretty difficult, or maybe not difficult, but would make for like an obstacle I'd be stuck on for a while, so I didn't want to deal with that. Let's get forward here to when I clear this. Alright, should be this one. This is the point where my hand was like at its most tired. I started switching fingers, shooting paint guns on my middle finger instead of index finger. It didn't help very much, but you know, take every little boon we can. You can see me struggling to get up. I didn't want to go too fast to die in the ceiling, but also I was so tired I couldn't get up without the left wall. Take a little breather here. A little bit of a long breather. And then I take a second breather because the first one wasn't enough. Let's fast forward through this. There we go. Beginner ascent. It's kind of slow, but I get a nice little like weird jump off the triangle, and that gives me a lot of height. I was like, dude, I sold the paint gun. Let's get this one too. That one wouldn't have been that hard. I think I'm not sure if you're supposed to do a traditional race skate skip where you jump and trip against like the like bottom left corner, or if you're supposed to do like the weird banana jump version. But I mean, I'm sure I could have done it. You might have seen the other video where I beat, I forgot what the level's called, but it's one of Fritz's levels where you grab the wall in a weird spot and it gives you you can jump and get some height. I feel like that probably works here too. I think I should try it though. So this one, the height, or I guess the height you have to dangle from is lower than the maximum length of the grappling hook. So when you grapple from that length, it will pull you towards the object until you're at the maximum length. But you can just keep grappling, like keep doing the initial grapple and stay at that height. You're supposed to get in between these plasma walls, but the space between there is actually really small. And it's pretty hard to stay between that. And when you're constantly doing the grappling, it's kind of like you have no friction. You just have to control your movement with precise joystick control, which, I mean, I've been getting better at that kind of thing, but I don't know if I was good enough to do it for this entire obstacle. Eventually I just start trying, going ham, skipping to the end. I thought maybe it would be a good idea to try to get to the middle of the obstacle rather than just the first gap. I thought about it for a little bit only, because I soon found out that the amount of time they give you is pretty large. When do I first try it? We'll just fast forward. Oh, you can see right there. I'm like, alright, I'm going ham. And I speed through it, and I was like, holy shit, I made it to the other side, but I got a little bit too fast because I don't think I expected to make it. Let's fast forward again until I try it again. Oh, my bad. Too far. And there we go. It was actually really easy. This obstacle, I thought you had to do some tricky jump where like you trip on the bottom left corner and slide up the wall, but you actually can just hold right and then jump and make it up there. And the first time I make it up there, I just jump across, and I was like, "Whoa!" I feel like it's supposed to be way harder than that. I'm not sure what happens if the timer fills up on that hologram pillar. I assume it just kills you. Here I was like, "Wait, I want to see what it does," and I was like, "Wait, no. If I overshoot that jump, I'm going back to the previous obstacle." This one, I thought was very easy. It's basically the same thing as one of the first ones where you gotta drop down a layer and then go back up, except that the window that level can kill you is very small, so I actually beat that in just 2 tries. And here I was right, the timer was so absurdly long that you just get the maximum score when you beat the level. Yeah, beat that level. This one took me, I guess technically like only like 4 tries, but I tried this level around when it came out. That was like 8 years ago, and so you could say this level took me 8 years to beat in a way. Something else I wanted to mention, this final obstacle, it's kind of poorly designed in a certain way, which is that, I guess it's just an oversight. If you're playing in multiplayer, it's pretty likely that the plasma would kill everyone at the same time, and something that happens when people die at the same time, they're going to be respawning at the same time, and then when multiple players respawn from the same checkpoint at the same time, it can cause the checkpoint to move. And I think in the original version of this level, this is something ads told me, the checkpoint's not glued down, and he was playing it in multiplayer and they died, and then the checkpoint rolled to the left, I think, into the the pit of death, and they just soft locked and couldn't beat the level. That's pretty unfortunate. I'm pretty sure in this version he glued it down. So, oh no, there goes the integrity of the original vision of the level. But I don't think anyone's upset over that. Here's the level, found on Beacon, uploaded by Hardest Levels himself. Little Skills Ultimate. Extreme difficulty. Oh god, I never want to play this level again. There's some things I love about it, but it took too much time out of me. Definitely the hardest level I've ever beaten. I'm proud of myself, and if anyone ever aces this level, I'll eat my pants. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Anthony bangers.